You're watching 6 Stories at 6 with me, Gesu Bharadwaj, where we get you the agenda-setting stories of the day. And on the show, first up, U.S. President Donald Trump has reiterated his jibe on USAID for the third time in a row. Punjab AAP's governance is in question. The government is running a non-existent department for over 20 months now. Next up, farmer leaders are set to meet the government in Chandigarh today. Air India is in deep soup. Shivraj Singh Chauhan exposes the substandard services of the flight giant. Now, it's Prime Minister Modi's versus Chief Minister M.K. Stalin in Tamil Nadu over language wars. 6 Israeli hostages are set to be released in the final laps of the stage 1 of truce deal between Israel and Hamas. Tracking that and a lot more for you, but first, starting strong with our first story for the day. A day after the BJP labelled as fake and misleading some reports disputing Donald Trump's claim of USAID funding to influence election outcomes in India, the US President dropped a fresh bombshell. Trump said firm run by just 2 persons received millions in government funding under the previous US administrations. Dismissing the Indian fact-checking reports, the president segregated the USAID funds pledged for India and Bangladesh as separate. We get you this report for all the latest on the story.
The fact-checkers have been fact-checked. A day after some reports cast aspersions on Donald Trump's claim on USAID funding to drive voter turnouts in India, the US President quoted figures to bust the narrative peddled by the fact-checkers. Refusing to back down from his claim, Trump said 21 million was sent under the previous US administration to drive voter turnouts in the last Lok Sabha election, while 29 million was separately pledged for Bangladesh.
Well, why are we giving $21 million to India? They got a lot of money. They're one of the highest taxing countries in the world in terms of us. We can hardly get in there because their tariffs are so high. I have a lot of respect for India. I have a lot of respect for the Prime Minister. He just left, as you know, 2 days ago. But we're giving $21 million for voter turnout. It's voter turnout in India. What about, like, voter turnout here? Oh, we've done that, I guess. We did 500 million, didn't we? It's called the lockboxes. Well, $21 million, I guess they were trying to get somebody else elected. Well, we ought to tell the Indian government, because when we hear that total breakthrough, $21 million for India elections, and $21 million for voter turnout in India. Why are we caring about India turnout? We got enough problems. We want our own turnout, don't we? Can you imagine all that money going to India? I wonder what they think when they get it. Now, it's a kickback scheme. You know, it's not like they get it and they spend. They kick it back to the people that send it, I would say, in many cases. Many of these cases, anytime you have no idea what we're talking about, that means there's a kickback, because nobody has any idea what's going on there. $29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh. Nobody knows what they mean by political landscape. What does that mean? $21 million going to my friend, Prime Minister Modi in India, for voter turnout. We're giving $21 million for voter turnout in India. What about us? I want voter turnout too, Governor. $29 million to strengthen the political landscape in Bangladesh. Went to a firm that nobody ever heard of. Got $29 million. They got a check. Can you imagine? You have a little firm, you get 10,000 here, 10,000 there. And then we get $29 million from the United States government. There are 2 people working in that firm. 2 people. I think they're very happy. They're very rich. They'll be on the cover of a very good business magazine pretty soon.
A report in a prominent national daily earlier claimed that the 21 million allocated by USAID went into Bangladesh. Meanwhile, Trump's top cabinet colleague and Tesla CEO Elon Musk dropped a broad hint on another big bang move. In a post on his X handle, Musk, who heads the Department of Government Efficiency in the Trump 2.0 administration, said the dismantling of the USAID could be on the cards. Musk, in his post, quoted a federal judge as ruling that Trump and the Doge can now dismantle USAID. Meanwhile, outspoken BJP MP Nishikant Dubey took a swipe at the Congress and the anti-Modi ecosystem over Trump's latest statement. In a post on his X handle, the BJP MP said Trump's detailed statement on separate USAID funding for India and Bangladesh was bad news for the Congress and the Tukre Tukre gang, who thrived on American crumbs. The Congress earlier demanded a white paper on USAID funding in India while claiming that Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis held talks with the agency for development funding. Earlier, Republic broke that the Ministry of Home Affairs is set to order a multi-agency probe into Trump's claim of kickbacks to alter the outcome of the last Lok Sabha elections. As the funding row gets bigger, raising a perfect political storm, it now remains to be seen if the multi-agency probe will unmask the recipients of USAID funds.
Joining on the broadcast is Anil Trigunayat, who has served as the ambassador for India to the US. Sir, thank you for speaking to Republic. Your first reaction, third consecutive jibe by US President Donald Trump, who is saying that there was indeed a meddling in the Indian elections.
Well, I think that this is not the first time that it has happened. It's only that it has come from the highest office in the United States, that which is trying to expose the deep state that has been working, influencing elections and trying to change the course of the outcome has been a standard practice. And I think that those in the government and otherwise do understand this, that how it is being played out. Unfortunately, they are very strong. And now the USAID, we have seen what happened in Bangladesh. We had a change of government very recently. So it is not something that it has not yielded results to them. But fortunately, in India, their project democracy has not succeeded because we are the largest democracy in the world. Our voter is conscious and understands the games that are being played out and selects the government, elects the government and the representatives that he wants. So it may have impacted to some extent by perhaps enriching the coffers of some of the parties or some of the NGOs. But at the same time, as far as India is concerned, I think that fortunately we have been on the right cusp, so there is no problem. But at the same time, this needs to be investigated.
Right, sir. Sir, thank you for joining us on the broadcast. We really appreciate your time and your insights. In a huge embarrassment for the ruling Aam Aadmi Party in Punjab, sitting Minister Kuldeep Dhaliwal was found to be heading a department that does not even exist, only exists on paper. The Congress and the BJP pounced on Bhagwant Mann government even as it relieved Dhaliwal of charge of the non-existent Department of Administrative Reforms. Chief Minister Bhagwant Mann, meanwhile, deflected the blame to Congress, claiming that the department was created during the previous government. Take a look at this report.
Yeah, this is the new badlav of the Aam Aadmi Party government. From last 3 years, they don't know that whether this department is existing or not. All of a sudden, 2 days back, they are saying that in cabinet they bring the notification that now this department don't exist. Even that Mr. Dhaliwal, the one who is a minister for this administration reforms, he himself don't know that whether I am a minister looking after the administration reforms or not. At least he should inform the government that being a minister, I have not conducted any meeting, or there is no secretary of that department, and still he is writing that I am a minister for administration reform. Who is doing all this shit? To be very honest, this administration, chief secretary, chief minister, that's why they always said that we will go for the new badlav. This is the new badlav. This is a shame.
Viewers, AAP has been caught red-faced. The government in Punjab was heading a department which does not even exist. Moving on. The centre is set to hold fresh talks with the farmers today in a bid to end the protracted standoff and protests over a host of demands, including an MSP law. Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan is already in Chandigarh to lead the latest rounds of negotiations to end the protest. Several previous meetings between the centre and the protesting farmers completely failed to break the deadlock. Take a look at this report.
मैं अपने किसान भाइयों से मिलने के लिए बहुत उत्सुक हूं। मैं कई किसान संगठनों से भेंट कर चुका हूं। सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण में चर्चा करेंगे, बात करेंगे और किसान को, खेती को, देश को सही दिशा में आगे बढ़ाएंगे। मैं अपने किसान भाइयों से मिलने के लिए बहुत उत्सुक हूं। मैं कई किसान संगठनों से भेंट कर चुका हूं। सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण में चर्चा करेंगे, बात करेंगे और किसान को, खेती को, देश को सही दिशा में आगे बढ़ाएंगे। मैं अपने किसान भाइयों से मिलने के लिए बहुत उत्सुक हूं। मैं कई किसान संगठनों से भेंट कर चुका हूं। सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण में चर्चा करेंगे, बात करेंगे और किसान को, खेती को, देश को सही दिशा में आगे बढ़ाएंगे। मैं अपने किसान भाइयों से मिलने के लिए बहुत उत्सुक हूं। मैं कई किसान संगठनों से भेंट कर चुका हूं। सद्भावपूर्ण वातावरण में चर्चा करेंगे, बात करेंगे और किसान को, खेती को, देश को सही दिशा में आगे।
Joining us is my colleague Lalit, live from outside the Mahatma Gandhi Institute for Public Administration, where the key meeting is supposed to happen. Lalit, have people arrived? The meeting was supposed to start at about 6. Tell us more about this.
Well, if we talk about the meeting, the farmer union leaders have already reached the Sector 26 Mahatma Gandhi Administrative Institute in Chandigarh. And if we talk about the central ministers, the Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan, Prahlad Joshi have reached there in Sector 26. Now, Piyush Goyal, the union minister, is going to reach shortly, and after that the meeting would be starting. There has been a deadlock between the farmer unions and with the centre from the past 1 year, and after 1 year now the second round of talks are going on between the centre and with the farmers. The first meeting was on 14th February of the second round of talks, and today is the second meeting. So in the first meeting there was a cordial atmosphere between the farmer unions and the central leader. Back to the studio.
Right. Thanks for getting us those updates. Lalit will continue tracking the story. But for now, viewers, shifting focus to another story that we're tracking on this show. Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan came out all guns blazing at Air India after being allotted a broken seat. Sharing his quote-unquote unpleasant experience, Shivraj said it was tantamount to cheating passengers. He said he had hoped the passenger experience on Air India flight had improved after its takeover by the Tata Group. The carrier, meanwhile, apologized to the union minister, saying that his experience does not reflect the service that the flight giant aspires to provide to its customers. Meanwhile, Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Rao said that he spoke to Shivraj while directing a probe into the incident. Here's a report. We're also being joined by Vipul Saxena, who is an aviation expert, to get us more details into the matter. Sir, what do you have to say about the recent allegations which have been floated against Air India? Do you think that the flight quality, the standard of service has only gone down?
See, it is not the first time it has happened. Unfortunately, it has happened to the extent that even a minister, a senior leader of the country, even he has been offered a broken seat. It is happening very often with normal passenger, and it goes unnoticed because the way passengers are being ill-treated by the airlines. They've been taken for ride for the fares, for the passenger services, for the comfort and all that. And there are no hearing. So situation is that even a minister, senior minister, a VIP, for whom there is a protocol, I'm sure airline knew about it, that Mr. Shivraj Singh Chauhan is traveling by so aircraft on the flight. Even crew must be knowing about it, which flight, which seat he is going to sit. Even then, nobody bothered to even ensure that everything is fine, at least for him. So we can imagine the kind of services are being provided to the common people. I would say here the total callous attitude by the airlines. I would not spare even other airlines as well. They all are same. What is needed is, there are 2-3 things I would like to highlight here. One is that I think in the DGCA protocol, I think passenger concerns also need to be more focused than just for the flight safety or ensuring the flight operations procedures are being followed.
Sir.
I think there should be some protocol pertaining to the services given to the passengers. Though there are CR, but those CRs are basically hogwash, not being followed properly. There are no serious actions.
Right, sir.
What is needed here? Can I get 2 minutes, ma'am?
Yes, please continue.
Yeah. So, two suggestions I would like to give to the minister. One is that these situations can arise anytime with any airlines, but there should be some kind of alliance between the domestic airlines. If any aircraft has this kind of problem, other airlines should be able to accommodate other airlines' passengers. And second thing, even for the airlines, there should be internal system where when the cabin crew reports this kind of matters, it should be immediately handled by the local crew, technical crew available, and they should resolve the matter immediately.
Right, sir. Sir, thank you for speaking to Republic and also sharing in some insights which I'm sure is useful for our viewers to also understand what their rights are and where do they stand as consumers and customers. Viewers, shifting focus. A fresh war of words is raging between the centre and the DMK government over the national education policy. This after Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin claimed that the state will go back to 2000 years if the NEP was implemented. Stalin vowed never to implement the national education policy regardless of the pressure that was brought to bear on his government. In wheel swipe at the DMK government earlier, Prime Minister Modi called out attempts to divide people on grounds of religion. Listen in to these jibes by Prime Minister Modi and also Chief Minister M.K. Stalin.
There is Tamil Sangam in Delhi. This M.K. Stalin went and visited schools, model schools in Delhi, when Arvind Kejriwal was the Chief Minister. In 6 schools, there were no Tamil teachers to teach Tamil. This was stated 3-4 years ago. And M.K. Stalin is still sleeping. And I believe if the central government wished to extend the 3-language policy in principle in a good note, why can't they appoint Tamil teachers first there in Delhi? So what is stopping them? Now BJP has formed the government there, right? It hardly take a minute for them to make an announcement. See, what we are worried is, with 2-language policy, we have delivered results. We have given outstanding results. And Tamil Nadu state has set an example for other states to follow. Our biggest worry is this will open the back door for another language to gain momentum in Tamil Nadu, particularly Hindi.
भाषा के नाम पर भेद डालने की कोशिश की जाते हैं तो हमारी भाषाओं की साझी विरासत ही उसका सही जवाब देती है। इन भ्रमों से दूर रहकर भाषाओं को समृद्ध करना, उन्हें अपनाना, ये हम सबका सामूहिक दायित्व है। इसलिए आज हम देश की सभी भाषाओं को मेन स्ट्रीम लैंग्वेज के रूप में देख रहे हैं। हम मराठी समेत सभी प्रमुख भाषाओं में शिक्षा को बढ़ावा दे रहे हैं।
Hamas has begun the process of handing over 6 Israeli hostages back to the Israeli Defense Forces. While we slip into a short break, stay tuned to 6 Stories at 6 as we come back in a jiffy to track that story for you.
Amity has been ranked among the top universities globally for producing the most employable graduates by the Times Higher Education UK. Yet another testimony to Amity's excellent placement record.
But think of it, a modestly successful comedian. President Zelensky talked the United States of America into spending $350 billion to go into a war that basically couldn't be won, that never had to start and never would have started if I was president, not even a chance, and it didn't start for 4 years. A dictator without elections. Zelensky better move fast or he's not going to have a country left. Got to move fast because That war is going in the wrong direction. In the meantime, we're successfully negotiating an end to the war with Russia.
Я дякую кожному з наших партнерів, які розуміють, що потрібні сильні позиції і на фронті, щоб захищати людей, і в дипломатії мають значення і сила, і правда. Доповіді були щодо діпстрайків по російських військових об'єктах і по інфраструктурі Росії, що обслуговує війну. На кожні 2 вкладених долари в нашу далекобійність ми отримуємо вже майже $10 російських збитків. Це потрібна динаміка. Росія повинна відчувати ціну війни, щоб дійсно хотіти миру. Генерал Келлог, зустріч, яка відновлює надію, нам потрібні сильні угоди з Америкою, угоди, які справді спрацюють. Я доручив працювати швидко і дуже виважено. Економіка і безпека завжди мають йти поруч. І деталі угод мають значення. Чим краще прописані деталі, тим більше результат. Обговорили із генералом Келлогом фронт, необхідність звільнити всіх наших полонених, які утримуються в Росії, а також необхідність надійної і чіткої системи гарантій безпеки, щоб війна більше не повернулась і щоб росіяни не ламали життя. Мир потрібен всім нам. Україні, Європі, Америці, всім світі.
Today is a tragic day. It's a day of boundless sorrow, of indescribable pain. 4-year-old Ariel Bibas.
Welcome back. You're watching 6 Stories at 6, and Hamas has handed over 5 out of 6 hostages that were due to be released in Gaza this very day. The final living captives, whom the warring sides agreed would be freed when a ceasefire began last month. Thousands, including Hamas fighters, gathered in Nusrat's central Gaza, where these hostages were handed over to Red Cross in another heavily choreographed ceremony.
The ordeal is finally over. These are the 6 Israeli hostages freed at last after enduring months in captivity. They are the last surviving hostages released in the first phase of the ceasefire. And each step they take is a painful reminder of those still left behind in the clutches of the terror group. 4 of them were abducted from the music festival on October 7, 2023, their lives torn apart in an instant. The other 2 had been held in Gaza for nearly a decade, lost to a conflict that never let them go. Hamas has announced it will return 4 more bodies next week, marking the formal close of this phase of the ceasefire. If the pledge still holds, the group will still retain around 60 hostages, half of whom are believed to be alive. But Hamas insists no more releases unless there is a lasting ceasefire and a complete Israeli withdrawal. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, backed firmly by the Trump administration, remains adamant. His mission is to dismantle Hamas's military and governing power while securing the return of all hostages.
Since that black day on October 7th, when Hamas butchered and burned 1,200 of our families and friends, Israel waited with bated breath, hoping beyond hope that our hostages would survive the Hamas hell. Against all odds, we succeeded to bring many home. Some we rescued, some we tragically couldn't. And as the Prime Minister of Israel, I vow that I will not rest until the savages who executed our hostages are brought to justice. They do not deserve to walk this earth. Nothing will stop me.
Even as the final steps of this ceasefire unfold, the blame game over the fate of the hostages rages on. Israel holds Hamas responsible for the deaths.
Contrary to Hamas's lies, Ariel and Kfir were not killed in an airstrike. Ariel and Kfir Bibas were murdered by terrorists in cold blood. The terrorists did not shoot the two young boys. They killed them with their bare hands.
Meanwhile, stay tuned to 6 Stories at 6 to get all the agenda-setting news in just one wheel. As I bid goodbye, I leave you with these emotional moments from the phase 1 of the hostage release deal between Israel and Hamas, which is in its last stage. Take a look, and I will see you here same time on Monday.
Can you transcribe and summarize the video?